It started dropping right in the middle there. The men on top kind of all fell that direction. There were 3 men underneath, which we got out, and as far as we know, everybody, well, now everybody is accounted for. Condition.
Do you have any idea what might have caused the building to fall in?
Evidently out in the middle, some pans give, some jacks underneath the pans. Evidently slipped and it just collapsed all at once. There was no warning on it whatsoever.
Was there any panic when this happened? How did the men react to it?
The first thing we did, we hollered for them to call the ambulances. And men that were working that area come running in there. We jumped right in there and started getting them out.
These are some of the sounds that you've heard in marches in many other parts of the United States. This time you're hearing them in Dallas, Texas. This is a march or a pilgrimage sponsored by the Southern Christian Leadership Conference, headed by Reverend Ralph Abernathy. These people represent the Black Citizens for Justice, Law and Order, the Southern Christian Leadership Conference, various peace groups, the Block Partners, farm workers, and other groups within the Dallas area. And they are on this pilgrimage to see what they consider to be the deplorable conditions in housing, in apartments where there's high rent and poor living conditions. They say they're going to show that Dallas is not all right, as so many people have said. And as one put it, we're going to pull the cover off the city of excellence and show the poverty, the racism, and the starvation in Dallas. They also say that they get minimal cooperation from the authorities, and they are now starting an effort to get something done about it. Heading the effort here is Reverend Peter Johnson, who is with the Southern Christian Leadership Conference from Atlanta, Georgia. We asked him just how they're going to go about accomplishing what they want here.
We're going to try to deal with the city of Dallas in calm dignity and bring about some changes. That's all. Now, what strategy or what tactics we come up with, that cannot be answered right now, because we deal with tactics and strategy for given goals and given problems.
Right now you're going about looking at the problems and taking news people with you to see the problems and trying to get some, apparently some cohesion among the various groups in this area. Now, if you do not succeed in getting something done by bringing these things to light, then what would you do?
I don't know, like that has to be decided in Atlanta. I can take everything back to Atlanta, and we sit down in Atlanta and make those decisions.
The Southern Christian Leadership Conference, which actually was founded by the late Dr. Martin Luther King, is going to establish a regional office here in Dallas. They're beginning with the efforts here in the Dallas area, but apparently will be extending those efforts into other portions of the Southwest. They have been successful in getting some concessions in other parts of the country. It remains to be seen how effective they're going to be in the Dallas area, but for once, many different organizations within the southern Dallas area are now working together under this one organization. This is Roger McDonald, Channel 8 News.
Having the treatment that we got last night, we're sort of at a loss, not as to the legal steps, but as to what's best for Mr. Watson. If Mr. Watson wants to see me, if it was in Dallas, I would imagine I could probably get in to see him merely by walking to the jail, handing a slip to the jailer, and saying, I am an attorney, my name is so-and-so, does he wish to see me? He might then refuse or grant it. But for certain, at this point, we haven't really made the decision exactly what we're going to do. If Mr. Watson says that he doesn't want to see me, of course we will do nothing. But at this point, Mrs. Watson has indicated definitively that he wants to see me.
If Charles Watson will retain you, do you intend to ask him to waive extradition?
I don't know your name, sir, but...
I'm Phil Reynolds of Channel 8.
Okay, Mr. Reynolds, I would love to answer that question, but as yet I haven't been able to see my client, so I don't know what circumstances prevail.
It seems to me if you're fighting for a cause and you're selling a service, you're going to be militant about it. We ought to judge not on the basis of whether you are militant, but what you're militant for. So that if the militance of the teachers in Dallas brings to the Dallas children and their families better education, this is what we should judge by. And I'm sure this would be the objective of the CTA in Dallas.
Can the image of the teachers as a professional group stand this?
I think the image of the teaching profession today is much better than it was 5 years ago, because the teachers are standing up now and fighting the causes of education. And if you judge by results, and that's what we need to be concerned about, they're achieving things now that bring about better education for the children. You have only degree levels. A teacher with a master's degree here could earn 2 additional years of preparation, investing thousands and thousands of dollars of their own income and not get 1 penny of reimbursement from this district.
It has been said that the Dallas teacher salaries are competitive in Texas, but how do they stack up with the other teacher salaries across the nation of cities of similar size?
Well, to give you a rough estimate, and you can judge for yourself on the basis of these figures, in your own population group or enrollment group, you are about $500 below the pace on the minimum salaries and at least $1,000 below the average or the median in the maximum salaries, which would mean that you're a year or 2 behind the pace being set by the other major cities.
Why should Dallas have to compete outside of Texas?
The reason is that if Texas, and particularly Dallas, doesn't want these qualified teachers, there are other states that could well use them. And there's a marketplace now that has to be met. That is, your area of competition is not within the boundaries of Texas. The recruiters will come from California, New York, anywhere to find these good qualified teachers.